I was managing a high school rap group, which Jail was one of the producers, and we went on a trip to Atlanta to try to get them some sort of record deal that was ridiculous. Long story, but on the way back, in the Rap Pages magazine, just like a month prior, I had read a review about a mixtape DJ, Mr. Dips, and I was like, this guy, I relate to this guy. I think he's probably a pretty dope tape. He's supposed to mail me the tape, and he never mailed it to me. And so this on the way driving back from Atlanta, I looked on the map. I was like, it's only an extra 3 hours to drive to Cincinnati. I'm gonna drive and pick up my tape. That's purely why I went to Cincinnati. I went there to pick up a tape that I read about in Rap Pages magazine because he said one of his favorite records was Grand Mixer DST. Why is it fresh? I was like, if that's on your list of favorite records, you are good probably. You are probably good. I believe in you. And so I went there, and when I got there, and I didn't even call him. I drove all the way to Cincinnati and then called him, and his then wife said he's not home. He's doing a party at this outside venue. I was like, where is it? What is it? I'll go. And that was the first Scribble magazine's release party, and that was March of '96. And I drove up. I remember immediately when I drove up, I thought, I might even said it out loud. I was like, whatever's happening here, I want to be a part of it, because I never can remember pulling up anywhere and seeing 4 turntables and DJs, people breakdancing, people doing graph, people rap. I never saw the 4 elements happening at the exact same time. I don't think ever in my life, except for in Wild Style, or in movies, So I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I got out of the car and I was like, Mr. Dibbs, this is Kevin Beacham. I drove to get my tape. He was like so blown away that I drove there to get a tape that they were like, how do you want to be down? We want to do a bigger one in the summer. And from there, I was like, I'm on the radio in Chicago. I'll bring Chicago to Ohio. And they're like, all right, you're down. And that's how I got down. Purely passion. I do think the Scribble Jam was a very, very influential addition to the battle scene. And a lot of people I know were like, when it first came out, they were like, oh, it's whack. They're writing rhymes now, or they're not rapping to beats or whatever. I never felt that way. I mean, like, the culture has to evolve and change or become. I mean, that was one of the challenges with Scribble Jam, is that it was becoming. I think in some ways people were like always worrying about how to go back to, like, in every year they were like, oh, it's not as good as when Eminem was here. It's not, it wasn't as good as when this guy was here, because people always want to go back to the past, And then if you actually technically look at it, it's not always actually true. Those moments weren't actually better. There's people who were like in the later years of Scribble Jam who are some of the all-time greats ever to battle at Scribble Jam. People like No Can Do is one of my all-time favorites ever at Scribble Jam. And he was in the last few years. And he's one of the all-time greats to ever do it to me. But people will be like, nah, I wasn't as good as when Juice. And don't get me, Juice is one of the all-time greats for sure. But people always have this connection to them that makes them forget that things do get better and progress and evolve. So I was happy with people like Grind Time, because it was Matt Ills is behind Grind Time, who came from Scribble Jam. And he's told me that, that was an inspiration for me to get Grind Time going. So like, I love where it's going. What I want to see, and kind of like if I ever did something like that, I want to see an event that's sort of like the triathlon of that, like where you have to do the written, you have to do the freestyle, you have to do it on beat. I want people like compete on. That's when you're gonna find out who the world champs are. Let's have them compete on every level, and do. And we've done. I did some of those things at Scribble Jam at certain elimination rounds. Like we would do like, okay, the 3-man battle, or so I think Scribble Jam pioneered a lot of things, or helped push a lot of things, and I want to see that kind of happen more. Everyone's just kind of following the format that's popular. It's easy to do, but I want people to push the limits of what they can do with the battle rap. That'd be great.